They didn't tell you the truth about spiritual awakening. They sold you the idea that it would be like flipping a switch and living forever enlightened. But if you're seeing this, you've probably already found out for yourself. Awakening spiritually can be the beginning of one of the most confusing and stagnant phases of your life. You touch something greater. It was real, it was transformative. And now what? Now you feel lost, unmotivated, questioning whether you've gone backwards or if you're going crazy. Welcome to the other side of spiritual awakening. Carl Jung, the psychiatrist who revolutionized our understanding of the psyche, knew this uncomfortable truth. Real spiritual growth doesn't happen in heavenly light, but in the brave descent into your own depths. For Jung, awakening wasn't about transcending humanity, it was about fully integrating it. What you're going through has a name. It's the passage between who you were and who you're becoming. In today's video, we're going to uncover the mysteries behind post-awakening stagnation and turn that paralysis into power. Because here's the truth. You haven't gone backwards, and you haven't lost your gift. You've simply arrived at the most important and least glamorous part of the spiritual journey. The part where the real work begins. Reality unveiled itself like a translucent veil, and for a moment you knew without doubt, without questioning, that you were so much more than your body, your mind, your story. The ecstasy was real, the connection true. But now you're here, in the void, in the suffocating banality of everyday life that insists on being ordinary. The bills still come, the body still aches, people keep being people. And you feel like someone who saw the ocean and was forced to live in a puddle. Spiritual awakening is not a destination. It's a starting point. Carl Jung knew this when he wrote, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." But what he didn't say, and what you're now discovering in your own flesh, is that awakening hurts. Awakening is waking up to a reality that feels smaller than the vision you had. You are not broken. You haven't gone backward. You haven't lost your spirituality. You are exactly where you need to be, on the threshold, in the sacred space between what was revealed and what still needs to be integrated. This void is not absence, it is gestation. Something in you is dying so that something greater can be born. The stagnation you feel is the fertile silence of rebirth. And to move through it, you first need to face what your awakening left in the shadows. Even after your awakening, you still have a shadow. And it may be even more dangerous now. Carl Jung discovered something that most spiritual seekers prefer to ignore. The more we identify with the light, the more powerful our shadow becomes. It's as if the psyche works like a system of connected vessels. The more you see yourself as awakened, evolved, or enlightened, the more strength you give to exactly what you deny in yourself. Have you ever caught yourself judging people who haven't awakened yet? Ever felt a hint of superiority when someone complains about problems you consider small? Ever felt irritated with those who don't understand your spiritual insights? Congratulations, you've just met your spiritual shadow. The shadow is not what you do wrong. The shadow is what you can't see that you're doing. It's the ego disguised as spiritual humility. It's arrogance dressed up as compassion. It's the need for control hiding behind surrendering to the flow. Jung called this ego inflation, when we identify so strongly with archetypal content that we lose touch with our humanity. Spiritual awakening can create a new kind of ego, the spiritual ego. It is subtle, sophisticated, and extremely convincing. It whispers things like, "You are special. You see what others don't. You're beyond these worldly matters." And the more you believe it, the more you disconnect from your own shadow and from your own humanity. Shadow integration is not optional. It's the only way to become truly whole. As long as you reject parts of yourself, they will continue to control your life from behind the scenes. Your stagnation might be exactly that, your psyche refusing to move forward until you integrate what you've left behind. The body doesn't lie. It knows when you are fragmented, even if your spiritual mind insists that you're on the path. Have you noticed that the more you grow spiritually, the less you're able to act in the world. The more insights you gain, the more paralyzed you feel. The more you understand, the less you know what to do. It's as if your soul got stuck right when it should be feeling most free. The medieval alchemists knew a secret that modern spirituality has forgotten. Before any gold is created, you must go through the nigredo, the black work. It's the stage where everything dissolves, where all certainties turn to dust, where you're temporarily unable to function the way you used to. The paralysis is not a flaw in the process. It is the process. Your brain is literally rebuilding itself. Neuroplasticity isn't just a fancy science word. It's what happens when expanded states of consciousness need to find new neural pathways to express themselves. During awakening, you access states of awareness that your nervous system still doesn't know how to integrate. That's why you feel this strange disconnect between what you know and what you're able to do, between the wisdom you touched and the life you're able to live. Your soul has grown, but your inner circuits are still reorganizing to hold this new depth. That's why simple decisions feel torturous. That's why you spend hours thinking about things you used to solve in minutes. Ancient peoples had rites of passage for this very reason. They understood that deep transitions require periods of symbolic death. Moments when you're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're going to be. The emptiness you feel isn't a lack of purpose. It's space being made for something greater to inhabit you. Your stagnation isn't a problem. It's recalibration. Your inner system is reorganizing at a higher frequency, and that takes time. Takes patience with the process. It takes the humility to accept that real growth sometimes feels like total paralysis. The secret is to stop fighting it and start trusting the sacred timing of your own transformation. Saint John of the Cross, the Spanish mystic, gave a name to what you're going through: the dark night of the soul. Jung, centuries later, discovered that this night wasn't a cosmic accident, but a necessary stage of what he called individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are. The dark night is a very specific kind of sacred despair. You haven't lost faith. You've lost your illusions about faith. You haven't lost meaning. You've lost the false meanings that kept you running on autopilot. It's as if your soul decided to do a deep cleanse and threw out everything that wasn't truly yours. The signs are unmistakable. You question everything you once took for granted. The answers that used to work now sound hollow. The purposes that once moved you have lost their pull. You feel like you've woken up in a life that isn't yours, surrounded by people who don't really know you. Jung called this the confrontation with the void. The moment when you realize you built an identity on foundations that weren't solid. Jung discovered that those who go through this journey without running, without numbing, without distracting themselves, come out changed. Not better, just different. With a solidity that rises from below, not from above. With a faith born from doubt, not belief. That's what individuation is. The courage to die to who you thought you were, in order to be born into who you really are. This is not the end of your spiritual journey. It's the beginning of the real one. Using that wisdom and making it work in your everyday Monday life. That's where the real work is. Jung knew this when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you are, not to become who you imagined you could be in moments of ecstasy, but to embody who you are with all the contradictions, limitations, and human beauty that come with it." Most gurus sell you the fantasy of transcendence, the idea that you will rise above your humanity and live at a permanently elevated frequency. Convenient lie. It's not about transcending humanity, but fully integrating it. That's why your spiritual practices have lost their spark. That's why you feel disconnected from your higher self. That's why nothing seems to work anymore. Because you're still trying to fly when what you really need is to learn how to walk, with your feet on the ground and your head among the stars. The real spiritual work doesn't happen on the meditation mat. It happens in the hard conversation with your partner, in the decision to face your destructive patterns, in the courage to feel anger, sadness, fear, and still choose love. Integration means taking what you glimpsed in altered states and finding ways to live it in everyday reality. It's about embodying the wisdom, not just understanding it. The work against the ego's nature is not about becoming angelic. It's about becoming fully, deeply, and courageously human. You're not living your life. You're living a story about your life. Jung discovered that we all create personal myths, narratives about who we are, where we came from, and where we're going that become golden cages. After spiritual awakening, these myths become even more sophisticated. But they're still just stories. And as long as you live inside them, you won't be able to access who you truly are. The archetypes are moving inside you like living forces, not theoretical concepts. The persona, the mask you wear for the world, is cracking. The shadow, everything you reject in yourself, is demanding recognition. The anima or animus, your inner counterpart, is asking for integration. And the self, your deepest center, is trying to emerge through the chaos. Jung understood that these aren't just psychological symbols, but real energies driving your life from behind the scenes. When you awaken spiritually, these forces intensify, creating internal chaos that may feel like madness, but is actually reorganization. Have your dreams changed since awakening? Have they become more intense, more symbolic, more disturbing? That's no coincidence. Jung found that the unconscious uses dreams as a direct language when it needs to communicate something urgent. Synchronicities also increase, those coincidences that feel like messages from the universe. They're not mystical signs sent from outside. They're manifestations of your unconscious trying to realign your conscious life with deeper truths. When you pay attention to these phenomena without romanticizing them, they become an internal GPS to help navigate your transformation. Real transmutation doesn't happen in the mind. It happens in the body. Every emotional pattern you carry is recorded in your muscles, your breathing, your posture. Every unprocessed trauma lives as chronic tension. Every personal myth shows up as physical rigidity. That's why spiritual transformation literally hurts. It's your body releasing decades of crystallized stories in the form of pain. Jung understood that individuation is not a mental process, but a full embodiment. That's why you can't think your way through transformation. You have to feel it, breathe it, move it through every cell until it becomes your new nature. After awakening, many people get lost trying to live only in the mind. The body is the field where everything manifests. If your spirituality doesn't change the way you breathe, eat, move, and carry yourself, then it's incomplete. If your spirituality doesn't change your choices, it's not serving you. You say you've awakened, but you keep sabotaging yourself, staying silent, molding yourself to fit. You talk about intuition, yet you keep ignoring the most obvious signs. Discomfort, exhaustion, tension in the body. Alignment isn't about believing in something. It's about living what you already know. You know what you need to do, who you need to walk away from, where you're betraying yourself. But you make up excuses because you don't want to deal with the consequences of the truth. That's what alignment is, stopping the negotiation with what weakens you. There's no mystery. Either you're respecting your energy or you're wasting it on what no longer makes sense. Carl Jung said, "What you need most will be found where you least want to look." And that's exactly where your transformation begins. As long as you keep looking for answers in ready-made formulas, idealized mentors, or empty promises, you'll keep going in circles. What sets you free is aligned action. It's about stopping the endless self-study and finally standing up for yourself. Life will test you. It will bring exactly the situations that show whether you're just talking the talk, or if you've become who you say you are. Deep self-knowledge isn't about understanding yourself. It's about rebuilding yourself. It's about letting the character you created to survive die, and embracing the identity you came here to express. So, if this content stirred something in you, made you reflect, moved you in any way, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, comment on what impacted you the most, and subscribe to the channel. Your consciousness isn't asleep. It's waiting for you to act like someone who's truly awakened.